Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Heather and today I'm going to be sharing with you everything I sewed for the months of April and May of this year. It's been a super busy couple of months for us, so normally I would try to do a roundup every month, but there just wasn't time for that. So I am doing sort of a combined roundup now. It has been a very good couple of months for sewing, though a little slower than normal. I have been in the background still kind of working on learning to pattern draft and things like that, and also we have been very busy with trips and different things like that. Many of you probably saw the Italian road trip series. If you didn't, I will leave it linked overhead and down below of the sewing process for making outfits for an Italian road trip. Had so much fun with that. So you will see those pieces again, but I know many of you may be new or didn't see that. So there will be new things as well. And yeah, I just feel really good about what got made over this last period of time, even if it might be less pieces than normal. So I am excited to share these with you today. If you are new to the channel, this is a sewing and fashion channel. So if you enjoy that type of content, definitely consider subscribing and coming along for the journey. Let's get right into these makes. So the first make that I sewed, I think these are in order, but it's been a minute, so I'm not 100%. But the first piece I made is Simplicity 8601, which is the tulip top that I currently have on. I will insert a little footage here as I talk about it, but it is a pattern I had made before with different variations, because there are quite a few different sleeve variations and things in this pattern that are really great because it gives you tons of options. This was an April make, just sort of as the tulips were finishing out the season, but I love tulips living here. There's always tulip fields, and it's something I've become so fond of abroad. And I found this viscose fabric that was at a local store. Most of the fabrics I have are local because that's just sort of how fabric shopping works here. So this is a beautiful viscose with this lovely tulip print that I just thought would be such a great piece to throw on with denim, throw on with shorts. Very versatile. And I'm trying to sort of expand that part of my wardrobe, is nicer looking tops that are casual, so that I'm not just always throwing on a hoodie or something like that, because I love fashion. I've always been a fashion girly, and I've just found myself sort of falling off the fashion wagon in the comfortability of life, so to speak, and working in the sewing room most of the time. And I thought, okay, I need some tops that kind of ride that line of casual, but still nice looking. So definitely one I would recommend. It's a super easy sew. And if you just want something nice, you can find a cool print. This is a good pattern to grab. All right, next up on my makes list is Burda Young 6718. As far as I know, this is the first time I've used a Burda pattern, and this was a gift for my wonderful, super supportive husband. He is always he's so supportive of my sewing and everything. And I know he had kind of been wanting something, and I've been wanting to make him something. And I had this pattern in my stash, and he kind of liked the snood on the hoodie, because there is a version with a hood and a version with what we're calling a snood. That's what it makes us think of. So we've been calling it a snoodie. I'm sure that's not technical, but we're using the term snoodie in this house. So that bad boy is right here. You can see it's sort of this burnt orange sweater material, and there's a really dark gray kind of running through, creating this pattern on the hoodie. We decided to finish it off with this textured black material. It is another sweater material versus a banding. Originally we were going to do a banding, but we actually just liked how this bit of texture, I don't know how well that's going to read, pairs next to the texture of this. We really liked the pairing of that. That continued onto the cuffs. And the snood here, you can see it's quite tall, but it just sort of slouches down. It's just kind of a fun, cool look. And I found this cording here in black with the metal finishings at the Stoffemarkt here locally in Germany, or the fabric market that comes through once a year. They are in other cities though, so maybe at some point I'll pop to another city, because it is so fun. It's so chaotic, but you find really cool stuff there. And I just happened to see this when I knew this was getting made, and I thought this is going to look a lot nicer than just sewing it off. So I'm really glad I found that, and he loves it. He let me get pictures of him in it, which is incredible. He's not a big picture guy, but he did a really good job. It fits him perfectly, and this was a great, quick, easy make too. Both of these first two pieces are very fast makes. So if you're looking for something quick and easy and satisfying, both of these are really good patterns. All right, third up, we have McCall's 8248, which is a pleated skirt. I made it at sort of a mid-knee-ish length here, and I found this remnant fabric locally, and I just really liked it. I don't know 100% what the blend is. There's definitely some cotton in it, and I really like this. I like how it came out. I think the color's really pretty. Again, I was thinking spring at the time. I do think it's a really good weight for spring. It's got some nice movement to it. I do remember having one little confusing bit when I worked on this, which had to do with the pleat explanation, but I think that's just something I'm gonna have to kind of get used to, because I think I've noticed a lot of patterns don't say what type of pleats, and sometimes I get a little confused what they're referring to, but it all worked out in the end. And I do really like it. I did wear this in Italy, even though I didn't make it for Italy specifically, and I got a couple compliments on it. And you know, that always makes you feel good when you put a lot of time and effort into things. And it really wasn't even one of the pieces, like I said, that I made for the trip. So that was a really nice little surprise. But I do really like this skirt as well. I don't think it's one I would make a ton, because I don't wear a ton of pleated skirts, but I do really like it. And I think come springtime, it will get a lot of wear. All right. And that brings us to the pieces that I made for the Italian road trip. So it was basically 3 looks. I originally wanted to get to 5. I only got to 3. I'm kind of a slow and methodical sewer. Plus I was filming a vlog of creating these looks for the first time, and so I think that slowed down the process a bit, obviously, too, when you're making videos and you're filming and you're moving the camera around. But I am really happy with the 3 looks that got made, and I think I did pretty good considering all of that. I am pretty happy with that. Now, one piece I made was not planned. Again, if you watch that series, you'll see what I'm talking about. It was definitely a last-minute piece, and that's actually where we're going to start. So the 4th piece here is McCall's 7970, which is this dress right here. It is another viscose blend. It's got kind of like a little bit of a sheen to the finish. I'm trying to remember what that viscose blend is. If someone knows, let me know in the comments. It's just escaping me right now, but there's a certain blend that I think has that tendency that is just going right out of my head right now. However, I loved this fabric. This was decided last minute, basically because I knew with the amount of time I had left before leaving, the other ideas I had were going to be too time consuming. So I went through my pattern stash. I found, again, McCall's 7970 and thought that looks like something achievable in a day, which was what I was looking for, hoping for. And it turned out to be right, because I made the entire thing in one day. It's just got an elasticated waist. It's got this nice flattering crossover. And I did actually make a tie belt as well, which is optional. But to be honest with you, because I did pick a material that was not recommended, the drape of this, I actually think I like it better without the belt. I think the belt gets a little too janky looking with it, if that's the way to explain it. So in the future, I probably won't actually wear the belt with this, but I did wear it that way in Italy, and then I realized I think I like it better without it. So I'm very happy with this. I personally really like this print. I think it's a great, easy stretch-on dress. No zips, no buttons, nothing like that. The only thing I would change with this, and honestly this top as well, is that I'm just realizing I don't like facings. I don't know if anyone else out there is like that. I don't like how they behave. I don't feel like it looks super clean. So I think going forward, you're going to see me doing a lot of either adding lining if it calls for it or makes sense, or potentially bias binding on certain things to finish it off differently for a look that I'm going to be a little bit happier with on the inside. So that's the only thing I will say, but you know, everybody's got their own preferences. I just personally don't love facings. So that's just an adjustment I'm going to have to make in general. All right, so the next look involves 2 different patterns. First of which is Simplicity 8927, the top, which is this tie-up top right here. I think it's a Mimi G pattern, although it wasn't under the Nomi umbrella or anything, but I believe it would be a Mimi G pattern. And this fabric, I believe, was actually from Joann's that I've had in my stash for a long time. Maybe Hobby Lobby, but I think Joann's. And I used just kind of a thicker polyester blend as an underlining and a lining. So it's actually got kind of 3 layers here, because this material was very sheer on its own, but I really, really loved it for this kind of vibe I was trying to create. I also found these really cool buttons locally that I really, really love. This, and honestly, a lot of these pieces were fairly easy sews, really straightforward, clear directions. I didn't have any trouble with that, but a couple minor changes I would make is I don't love how having this lining really looks when it's tied. I don't really know what the solution for that is. And the other thing is I would lengthen these straps a little bit, because I had them about as long as they would go for me to be able to sew them in. And I could still lengthen it a little. I think the dart at the bust would actually lower a hair too and sit slightly more appropriately. It doesn't look bad, but they could definitely be placed a little bit better, which I think honestly the strap just needs to be a little bit longer for me. I also decided along the back side to just stitch from the outside and make it easier on myself, because you can't tell with this particular material, really. It doesn't stand out as, oh my gosh, there's a big stitch back there. So I made a couple little modifications like that, but all in all, really happy with it. And I especially love what it was paired with. And that brings me to McCall's 7606. Oh my gosh, do I love this pattern. I'm making it again this month for my mom. I will probably make another one for myself at some point in the future, maybe in a solid. Obviously you can't really see it very well right here, but I will insert footage and talk about it here. It's my first time making a wrap skirt, and I had this fabric, again, locally, a viscose, and got a lot of viscose over the last couple of months, getting into the warmer time of the year. I've had this basically since I moved here because I thought it was such a beautiful and special fabric. I thought I would make a dress or a blouse with it, but when I saw this pattern, it just kept calling my name, and I'm really glad I went that direction because I think they paired together just perfectly. I would not change anything. It was a little confusing trying to figure out where the long and short ties went in the directions in order to get it to wrap appropriately. But once I sort of got past that math equation in my head, then everything went really smoothly. Like I said, I definitely think this could be a one-day make. And it took me a lot longer than a day because of having a lot of other things going on, but I really, really love this skirt. And last, but definitely not least, is McCall's 8582. It is one of their newer patterns, and I had this fabric just shortly before the pattern dropped, I want to say, and when I saw it, I just immediately knew what I wanted to do with it, with this fabric that I found at, again, the Stoffemarkt. And I found this as I was leaving. I was on my way out of the fabric market, and it kind of caught my eye, the color from a distance, and I went over, fell in love, and the rest is history. So this is McCall's 8582. Again, I will insert footage of as much as I can because I know this is going to be a little difficult to see in this way, but it is this asymmetrical dress with a flounce. There is a variation with a straight, hem at the bottom essentially, or the asymmetrical hemline. And I went all in with the asymmetrical hem. So this dress was made because we were going to one of my really good friend's weddings while we were on our Italian road trip. And she got married at a Tuscan villa in Italy. And I thought this would be the perfect rehearsal dinner dress this time of year, very fun, vibrant. So that's what I went with. And this is in sort of a poly silk kind of a blend. And I just thought this bold color story was so beautiful, so fun. I've said it a few times on this channel, but it felt like Elwood's Goes to Tuscany to me. And I am always looking for a reason to channel my inner Elwoods. Now, one thing I would change is the bow. Not because I don't like it, but just in the print, you can't really see it. So I don't think there was a reason to put it on. So I would say, depending on the print you're doing, be conscious of that because you might not see it. If you're going with a solid, I think you will see it, or you could find a coordinating solid and just do the bow in a solid. This was definitely the most challenging of the makes over the last couple of months, but honestly, it wasn't nearly as complicated as I thought it might be. As you can see, there are all of these merge points, right, as part of this asymmetry. And it's done basically in the same way that you're going to do a meeting point here in the center. There's lots of things converging at the same dot. So it can definitely take a little finesse to get that where you're not having any puckering. Definitely take your time. But I actually didn't find it terribly difficult. Just a little bit, like I said, finessed, going slowly, not rushing the process. There were a lot of nice finishings on this too, like the way the zipper is finished was something new for me that made it really, really extra invisible, and the lining closed up nicely. Loved that. Can't wait to do that again. It did call for, I believe, a designer hem too, which is that really fine hem detail. And it's what I had done to hem my bridesmaid's dress, which was my first time doing that. And then I think I had to do that 3 times during the last 2 months. So I feel pretty good with it now. If you ever come across that, I would definitely recommend getting duckbill scissors. That was something I came across as I was trying to learn how to do that. And when I got them, my practice runs went way better. So I do think duckbill scissors really help with that ultra fine hem like that. All right, so even though that wraps up the makes, I do want to mention one other thing and just sort of get your thoughts on it. Something we just pulled out last night is my husband got me a projector for Christmas. I have been eyeing one for probably at least 3 years. I've been thinking about it, but I think I'm at a point in my sewing journey now that it makes more sense. So I was like, oh, we have to get that out because he got it for me for Christmas and it's been sitting here. So we kind of started playing around with that last night. And I'm curious or not how many of you might be interested in seeing a first impressions video. I would definitely love all of the tips and tricks from those of you that already use a projector. I really hate taping together PDFs. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. So this is going to be a game changer for me. I love a good paper pattern too, especially tissue paper patterns. So I definitely think I'll be using all of the things at one point or another, but I think the projector is going to cut down on a lot of the PDF stuff for me, which I'm really looking forward to. So let me know if that's something you'd have any interest in hearing about in a future video so that I can start filming some of that as we experiment here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button and coming along for more fashion and sewing content, and definitely give this video a thumbs up because it really does help the channel out and I very much appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of the week and weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.